Look beyond the value of the click with Antonella Villani from Assembly. Brought to you by Majestic, I'm David Bain and this is SEO in 2022. Antonella, what is your number one SEO tip for 2022?
My tip for 2022 is, as you just mentioned, to look beyond the value of the clicks for your keywords in position 1 for organic, because we all know that our job and our work goes well beyond that.
So why is measuring clicks not enough?
We've seen in the past few years, Google giving more and more space to paid features and all sorts of features in the SERPs. So even if you maintain your position 1, it probably means that your click-through rate is going to be much lower than what you used to get. So it's important that you talk about the other work that you do that it might not be visible.
So are you saying that by just seeing your brand on the SERP, that is providing SEO value in itself?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So are we saying then that all clicks are not the same, and some clicks are irrelevant traffic that's not going to result in sales? So there's no point in actually measuring clicks. You're more likely, and it's more valuable to actually focus on user experience once people get to your site.
Not at all. Obviously, clicks are the sort of number one metrics that we should always be looking at. But sort of beyond that, there are many other sorts of KPIs and factors that we can look at when we asked about the SEO performance. So yeah. So
okay.
So clicks are still important.
What are the top KPIs then that are important that you look at?
It depends on the work you do. So, for instance, what I was looking at, it's a classic example when we're talking about speed, is something that site speed, page speed is something that has been sitting with the SEO teams for years, and we've been talking about that again for a very long time. But especially in the past couple of years, because of the Core Web Vitals update, we finally got the development budget to make things happen and to see the improvements that we've been wanting to see for years. So it would just be a sort of a bit of disservice to ourselves if we said that the improvements that we're measuring are just the clicks that we're getting from the ranking improvements due to that. Because we know that by improving speed, we improve the conversion rates, maybe we decrease the bounce rates, not only in SEO, but across all the other channels as well.
Okay, bounce rates. I don't think I've heard that for a couple of years. So is it negative then if someone visits a web page and then goes back to the SERP and doesn't click through to another page on the site?
It depends. If they take the action you want to take them, then absolutely it's not negative. But if they don't and are not satisfied with the results they're getting, you're just losing as somebody who've landed on your page and they've not converted.
So obviously there's a difference between different types of traffic. Some clicks are going to be fairly early in the funnel. Some clicks are going to be later on. You would expect clicks and later on to hopefully follow further actions through to your website. So how do you differentiate between different clicks and different audiences? Because someone visiting a website for the first time and seeing your site for 20 seconds could be very valuable for the future. So how do you measure the value of that?
Oh, well, I suppose you might be looking at different sorts of attribution models, etc. But there is definitely value in somebody being exposed to your website, even if they do not take action straight away there and then. I suppose using a different attribution model, there's not the sort of last click, might help you to sort of measure that.
So do you have a preferred attribution model, or do you tend to talk through attribution models with a client and try to understand their business, and then deliver your reports based upon the metrics that they're looking for in the attribution model that you agree with the client?
I suppose the best way to look at it is always talk about it with the client, see what they're trying to achieve and how you're going to report on that. But also there might be you might be able to develop with them, if you've got a data science team working with you, for instance, you might be able to develop an attribution model sort of catered specifically for that client. There is very, very, very different ways that you can use to look at this.
So what if you have an annoying client that just says to you, last click is all I'm interested in? How do you talk about then the value of early stage traffic that may not be ready to convert yet?
Again, you can introduce other sort of other metrics, but if at the end of the day last click is what they want to hear about, that's what you're going to report on, and you're going to try to maybe target longer tail keywords, for instance, that might bring you to sort of further down in the funnel, so that you're looking at the last click, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's certainly, I think, a greater focus on further down the funnel nowadays because of the fact that shorter keyword phrases are more competitive and actually quite hard to rank for, and result in, I guess, poorer engagement rates initially with your website. So at least if you manage to rank for longer tail keyword phrases that are further down the funnel, you're going to get more engagement and better user experience signals back to search engines as well. So in general, are you seeing a trend towards the focus on longer tail bottom of funnel keyword phrases rather than actually high volume keyword phrases nowadays?
I think potentially, they're very valuable, and I think sort of businesses are starting to see it more. And again, because of the changes in the SERPs, etc., like ranking, I don't know, in position 3 or 4 for dresses might end up giving you very few clicks anyways. So because of all the shopping and all the other features on the pages. So definitely targeting keywords with better intent, more conversion-led intent can definitely help you.
So when you're explaining things like click-through rate to someone that is not a technical marketer, how do you explain it? I mean, how do you actually get them understanding the value of it and focusing in on it without them really being comfortable, I guess, with the technical aspects of it?
A way that it's very sort of useful for when doing trainings with clients is to make sure that you talk the language that they're talking. So, for instance, if you're talking to developers and you're telling them, again, going back to speed, for instance, the work you're doing is increasing our conversion rate, which means X more revenue for the business, or they're definitely very keen to listen to it, and I think a lot of times it goes down very well, and they feel a bit more part of the sort of larger project as well. So I found that, for instance, if you're doing, I don't know, an SEO session with the your development team, I think that goes down quite well. And so it depends on who you're talking to, what kind of things they're looking at as their day-to-day sort of metrics and measurements, and then say, okay, this is, for instance, how SEO can help you.
What does success look like when you're actually taking a client's focus away from clicks to other metrics? So if an SEO report for an agency client typically looked at these are the core keyword phrases that you're ranking for, this is the click-through rate, this is the traffic, and that was the focus on reports, and that has been the focus on of agency reports in the past. What should a modern progressive SEO agency report look like to a client? What metrics should be the main focus in there?
Again, I think with sort of, how easy it is to sort of build dashboards. For instance, in Data Studio, you can build sort of dashboards specific to the sort of project you're working on for a quarter, etc. So, for instance, again, going back to speed, you can overlay your improvements on page speed with conversion rates, with again bounce rates. You could even look at CPCs for your PPC campaigns, etc. So that you can look at, again, you're paying, this, or you have got an in-house SEO consultant, but what is the value that they bring into your business that it goes obviously beyond the position one. So you still want to be obviously in position one. It's important still to monitor keyword rankings, etc., number of keywords you're ranking for, etc. But I think we need to sort of understand that the role of SEO is sort of much wider than just looking at the keywords. I think a lot of times we are sort of agents for change in the businesses we work for. So I think that's something that we should be highlighting, whether we are in-house SEO or whether we are sort of external consultants.
Agents for change. That is a great description, I guess, of what a modern SEO should be. But there are many SEOs that are a little bit technical, primarily in their focus, and probably just bury their heads in their SEO sandpits, or however you want to describe it, when it comes to really understanding and interacting with other parts of the business. So what are ways in which an SEO can get better in becoming an agent for change, getting involved with other areas of the business, getting involved with the business strategy and other parts of the marketing department?
It comes down to language. So speaking the language of the person that you're speaking to. So understanding, again, what they're trying to achieve and how you can support them, and making it clear to them that you can support them to achieve what they are trying to achieve. So not being a sort of us versus the rest of the business, but being we're here to support, to improve the sort of your website experience overall. So it's not just targeting keywords, etc., which is still very important parts of SEO, and also the technical aspects. And but if you don't get them implemented, at the end of the day, they're just beautiful documents that sit somewhere in someone's desktop. So and not very useful.
It sounds like an SEO should stop doing robotically what they've done in the past for clients, just sending them the same reports, even though the client's actually asking for them. What are my keyword rankings? What are my click-through rates? And actually understand their business and focus on the metrics that are more likely to impact the business, and encourage clients to want to have their reports changed to incorporate the metrics that are more relevant for them. And that would be great for the SEO over the long term and the client over the long term as well. But it may take quite a bit of time to persuade them to do that. And maybe an SEO would find it difficult to do that or challenging to do that, and they don't have enough time in order to do that. But actually, in thinking what you're saying, they're thinking, Antonella, you're probably right. I need to spend more time on educating my clients, on getting my clients to look at different metrics and understanding more appropriate metrics for the success of their business. So what's one thing that an SEO perhaps have been doing for the last 5 years or so that they need to stop doing because it's not a good use of their time, so they can spend more time doing what you suggest?
I think we sort of just said it. So stop being sort of doing SEO reports and audits in a robotic way, but really try to understand what the business you work in with needs and how best you can help them to achieve their goals.
Great stuff. You can find Antonella Villani over at assemblyglobal.com. Antonella, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2022.
Thanks, David.
Check out the rest of the content from SEO in 2022 over at SEOin2022.com.